So, welcome back to another episode of the Half and Half Scarf Football Podcast with me, Nick, and my mate Dom. Those who are regulars know that we're normally a Monday release podcast every week, talking about observations on football as two match-going fans. Because of the World Cup, we've got some strange release dates, although this is actually going out on Monday morning, which is our normal slot. And we're in the World Cup, and we've just completed the quarterfinals as we record this on Sunday morning, the 12th. So all four quarterfinals have been completed. I've watched three games live and one highlights this morning. I wasn't going to stay up for 2 o'clock for Argentina, Switzerland, but I've seen the extended highlights. And the question I've got is, did the cream rise to the top when it came to all four games? Lots to talk about. Observations, as I say, as match-going fans, although we won't be going to match-going fans when I talk about the pricing of a ticket I've seen for the semi-final in Atlanta. But without further ado, I'll introduce you as ever, or reintroduce you as ever, to my mate Dom and my co-host Dom. I love that Espana 82 shirt. I'm wearing this England shirt in honour of what I can only describe as a hard-fought victory last night. And
Yeah,
God knows, I'm glad I didn't wear it watching it in the social club last night, because it is the thickest, hottest shirt I've ever bloody worn. So by the end of the episode, I'll be dripping. So we're going to discuss all four semi-finals. Um, I've seen, let's say, three live and one extended highlights. I think you missed the Argentina one for
I
now,
missed
haven't
that
you?
one. Yeah, I haven't
Well,
caught up on that yet. But you
well,
you've brought me up to speed a bit before we came on air,
yeah.
mate. So I did
Well,
flick on the score briefly when I was awake in the night, and I saw it was 1-1 going into extra time, and
yeah,
I was yeah I knew I could go straight back to sleep, so I was like, I'd rather have my sleeps, thanks, and check
yeah.
that in the morning. I thought, and I checked it as soon as I got up. I was like, oh, here we go, 3-1. Okay,
There was an inevitability, but we'll come to that anyway.
yeah,
Let's do them in the order that the games occurred. And for each game, I've got a little headline. So Morocco, France, I was absolutely looking forward to this game. Couldn't wait to watch this game. And I've put here the most disappointing game of football I think I've ever watched in terms of anticipation and what I expected. It was an absolutely appalling performance by Morocco, I thought.
yeah. It was a bit of a ball fest, to be honest, wasn't it?
It
Let's be
was, yeah.
honest. It wasn't a good game of football at all. I was really quite surprised at Morocco. I thought they'd do a lot better than they did. I thought they played into France's hands, to be honest, and I
Yeah.
wasn't that impressed with them. For a team that me and you have both said we could see them going all the way, they kind of went out with a little bit of a whimper, didn't they? And it was a bit like, oh, okay, that's quite underwhelming, really.
I think it started their kickoff. They did that rugby type kickoff
Yeah,
where they hoofed the ball down, to the level of the 18-yard box for a throw into France. And it's like, really, is that what you're doing? And I've got a few examples of stuff I want to pick out from the game. But the one thing I would like to say is we've never touched on this really. International kits are so much better without a sponsor, aren't they? I mean,
yeah.
The France kit, it's a weird mouthwash colour. Um, but it's crisp as hell when you look at it, isn't it? There's no betting company on there. There's whatever, and I think the kits look so much crisper and so much better without a sponsor, don't they? But it's never going to happen in the Premier League, Championship, etc., because of the money.
It's a
But
shame. Yeah, I'm with you. I really like it. I really like a top without a sponsor,
yeah,
or or I don't mind a sponsor if the sponsor, where for whatever reason it is, it's just like a one worder and it just fits the kit and it becomes
yeah,
synonymous with that club. A bit like randomly, I don't know, a bit like Sharp were with Man United back in all that
yeah,
in the days where, JVC with Arsenal, where all of a sudden it just becomes something where you just think, actually, it just fits and it
it
looks
works.
right. And
Yeah.
yeah, Everton's one for this new season is bloody awful. So it just takes over the entire front of the shirt to the point where it's just too noisy and too busy. And you think, oh God. So I'd rather
Anyway,
I'd rather have it without. But yes, I completely agree with you, and I do like that about it. Shows off the design of the kit more, so you focus more
it
on the
does.
detail, don't you? I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I've got some observations. Let me read through a few, and then we'll have a chat about them. I put here Mbappe's acceleration over 10 yards. I think on a push and go and a burst of speed, he would give Usain Bolt a run for his money over 10 yards, mate. I think he's astonishing in terms of he stands there, he faces his, the opposition, and he'll just ping and go, won't he? And he reminds me when we had Traore at Middlesbrough, when he first burst onto the scene, God, he was a frustrating footballer. But
Yeah,
man, could he run over 10, 15 yards, couldn't he? And
yeah,
Mbappe's acceleration, I've got that. But I've also said here, um, another shit stuttering run up to a penalty, and it hardly reached the keeper. The keeper could have put his cap over it. And I put here again, stop stuttering. Kane did one. Um, Messi's done. People are missing penalties, and he's the stats for Mbappe, right? 78 career penalties by Mbappe, and he's only scored 64. That's 1 in 5 that he's missed nearly. One in
yeah.
five for a guy as talented as that. I put his shit stats, and I suspect if you look at the 1 in 5 that he's missing, it's when he's doing some stupid stuttering run up. We've discussed this a lot, but again, what you thought? I just stop doing it.
Just hate them. I've always hated them. I mean, I think I've said on this pod a few times on different occasions. I'd like them to ban them. I'd like them to make it that you have to literally run up to the ball and smash it and actually
Mm,
take a proper hit at it. Guimaraes the other day actually stopped, and I know they keep saying you've got to have momentum. He stopped. He literally
yeah,
stood still. Referee should be pulling him for that, and it shouldn't be a case of retake. It should be a case, well, you had your chance and you've stopped.
yeah.
That's off you go. I mean, to be honest, his finish was so bad anyway that he might as well just walked away from it. But yeah, I know there was all this thing about it took 3 minutes and the delays and all the things that went on, and it distracted him. It's like, oh God, come on! He's supposed to be a world class player. You're telling
Yeah.
me he can't get it in his head? And he was there moaning for ages
Oh, he
afterwards.
was.
Like,
He
stop
was.
moaning. Just face up to the fact that you've just taken an utterly shit pen that anyone could have saved, and
Yeah.
stop. You're basically embarrassed about it, so you decided to moan about it instead.
He's the key for that, though. Why did it take 3.5 minutes? It was probably the most obvious penalty I've seen in the entire World Cup.
Yeah,
He absolutely sided down, wasn't he?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I was really shocked with it. I've been shocked with quite a lot of the penalties this World Cup, and I'm really hoping that it's really highlighting. Just stop it. Just run up and belt it, and that's how to take a pen.
A third of all World Cup penalties this World Cup have been missed or saved. A third.
Yeah,
Now, when you take a penalty, the stats suggest that you are something like 4 out of 5, 80% chance of success just because you're facing a goalkeeper, you've got control of the ball,
yeah,
80% chance. So why in this World Cup are we down to 67% conversion rate? I'll tell you why, because people are just doing shit penalties. And I just think stop doing them. But let's move on from penalties. We discussed it a lot. I wrote down at 36 minutes, Morocco playing for penalties. They're playing for extra time penalties at
yeah,
36 minutes. Not a classic by any means, but it did make me watch other things. And I've said this before, Michael Elise, what a footballer. But he's got
oh,
legs like pipe cleaners, hasn't he? He has
yeah,
absolutely no muscle to his legs are like the skinniest things ever.
yeah,
And he's just a wonderful footballer with pipe cleaner legs. And I've got here Rabiot still overrated, still shit. But then what a goal by Mbappe. No right to he can't score a penalty, and yet he scores from there. No right to score, let alone get a shot away. And it's weird, isn't it? He's that good, he's that quick, he's that direct, and he's brilliant when he's got half a yard, half a chance. And it was a beautiful goal. When you watch it from behind, he's
yeah.
bent it round. Keeper's got no chance. How can he do that? And then take a penalty like he took where the keeper couldn't
I
even
know,
had to
I
dive
know.
forward to reach it.
I agree. I think we've said all along that we think France are the ones to watch and the ones to beat, and I still maintain that, to be
Oh
honest.
yeah.
Even though and we'll get to it. Spain will probably give them. They'll either give them a really good game or they'll just go out with a whimper. Spain.
Yeah.
We'll get to that, but I do think with France though, and strangely, for all the quality they've got and how how brilliant Elise is, etc. I'm and I'm not a big fan of Mbappe, to be honest. Even though he's a world class talent, I just sometimes don't like how he is at club level.
Mm.
But if you take him out of that France team, I'm not sure they're getting anywhere near close to winning it because he is just that.
Mm.
Without him, I just don't think they work as effectively. Because Elise is as good as he is, wouldn't have an outlet. He wouldn't have a focal point. And in fairness, Mbappe creates quite a lot of the stuff for himself. And
Well,
I've just been come to, I've just been coming to the conclusion a lot when I've been watching them, mate, that take him out of that team, they lose so much dynamism straight away. They lose their threat basically.
well, I've got here for the second goal. I put you can't let Dembele run at you. You can't. But going back to your point there, Mbappe made a decoy run, and the defence just opened like partly like the Red Sea.
Yeah,
So as Mbappe makes his decoy
yeah.
run, they're all scared of Mbappe. It just opens up like the Red
Just
Sea.
creates the
You
space.
cannot let Dembele run at you like that.
No,
I put you the keeper should have done better as well. But and when that winning I put, we'll comfortably see this out now. And Morocco have been very disappointing. I thought Morocco really just like you said went out with a whimper. That the sort of were like, okay, well, it's France. We can't beat them. We're 2-0 down. And I put here, I thought they had one back from a corner, but the header rippled the side netting. It was a packed 6-yard box,
yeah.
and it was 10 minutes from the end, and it looked like it'd gone in, but obviously, when they show it back, it's gone into the side net. That might have made the last 10 minutes interesting, but it just never was. It was a type of game that had an inevitability about it. And the minute France scored their first goal, Morocco, I mean, we mentioned when Spain played Portugal the other night, Portugal did nothing until Spain scored.
Yeah,
But even when France scored, Morocco really didn't step up at all. And all the African nations have gone out, and 7 of the 8 went out in the round of 32, didn't they? So, there's still a lot of work for African nations to do to get to the elite level, I think.
I think so. To be honest, though, I think Morocco were more than capable of giving him a game. I just don't think
Yeah,
they did. It was a strange one for me. They just didn't look like they were setting out with a plan to say we're going to take this to them and give them a
no,
game, which I was a bit surprised at. And whether it came from a bit of uncertainty, a bit of hesitancy, thinking how do we assess this, gauge the game as we go along, and a bit unsure as to how to play and whether to think, oh, if we come on to them, we'll leave ourselves exposed and we'll get battered. I don't know, but I didn't see that side of them anyway. So I didn't see them going for it anyway. So I was like, well, this is just really odd because it just had a really negative feel about it completely. Like just literally like they had no plan of what they were going to do. Like you said, it was almost like, oh, let's just see how long we can take them for and see how
yeah,
far we go to the point where if we get into extra time and take to pens, it might be a bit more edgy and we'll get a chance. I'm like, no, just give them a game of football. I think I said before, I think with France you have to take the game to them.
yeah, yeah.
I think you've got to. I don't think you can sit back against France. I think you
I,
have to take it to them completely.
I think 120 minutes of sitting back against France, you're always going to lose. And I've put here,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're Morocco, you've got you can't just stick. You've got to twist, haven't you? You've got to at least roll the dice. I know you don't twist and roll the dice. It's cards and dice. It's mixed Las Vegas metaphors. I
yeah,
appreciate, but
yeah,
you've got to roll the dice. You've got to do something, haven't you? You know what I mean? I've put a couple of other things here. Morocco fans looked bored at the end. They were like, okay. They just look
yeah.
like
It's a
accepted it really. Yeah,
quarter
yeah,
of a quarter final. So and it's like, come on, you've got to raise the stakes. You've got to do something.
yeah,
You've got to at least try and create something. We've said all along they've got players that are good enough. So I'm just a bit surprised that
yeah. Disappointing.
they must walk off from that and think that was definitely a missed opportunity. Definitely a missed
Even if you
opportunity.
go out, even if you go out 3-1, 3-2, at least you go out with a bang, don't you? Know what I mean?
Yeah,
Egypt went out against Argentina, giving it a go, and we'll come to inconsistencies in a minute. But at least they gave it a go. If you're playing a team who are perceived to be bigger and better than you, the least you can do is give them a go. In it.
I will always maintain that as long as I see my club and the country really going for it and
Yeah,
really trying to win a game of football, if you come off second best but you've really given them a game, and
yeah.
you know there'll always be the odd little bit that's not perfect, but if you see that you've actually gone for it and tried, there's no complaints from me. Never
My,
will
la-
be.
my last point on France is if you think Mbappe is quick, Bradley Barcola, oh my Christ, he picked up the ball. He picked up the ball on the edge of the probably the halfway line, and he gave the defender about a 10-yard start over about 14 yards and still won it. Like, Christ, he's so quick, him. So, you've got to have a plan, haven't you, to stop the speed and pace of France. And I think we'll come on to Spain now. I think Spain might have the stifle capability within them and, pass them to death and ball them
Yeah,
to death. Maybe we'll come to that. So yeah, France worthy winners. Morocco, disappointingly, off you go. Um,
but a poor
I've put
game of football. Let's have it right in terms of a
absolutely.
spectacle. And we've touched on it before, and for the fans and everyone else, and getting in there and paying for your ticket. When you think how much you're paying, some of the games, the quality of these games has been so poor, and you think, well, wow, when you
I
think how
don't
much
think
it costing fans to get in there and watch it, it's just. I think there's always a bit of a shame when you're watching a game of football and you're just thinking, "Oh God, come on, when's this going to end?" Because it's that dull, really.
like I don't think any of the quarterfinals have been. I mean, England was edge of the seat for different reasons, but I don't think any of the games you'd look there and go they'll live long in the memory. So we'll come on
None.
to one that I wasn't looking forward to. I actually wrote down Spain versus Belgium. Not looking forward to this. I put out turned out slightly better than
Yeah,
anticipated, but
I'd
but
agree with
but
that. Yeah,
yeah. And Spain bore me, and they're a technically gifted side. Not really got little superstars in the team. They're a hard working pass team. But then Belgium lost Tielemans in the warm up, and they'd already lost Anana in the midfield. So at the very outset, you're looking at that going against a Spanish midfield who just keep the ball and pass the ball and patiently look for opening up a creative sort of opportunity. You're up against it already, and Tielemans. I like Tielemans, and they were already up against it. And I put
yeah.
here, Courtois has been a great goalkeeper, and he still probably is a great goalkeeper. But he's one for my lad Rob. My lad Rob's never rated him. When you got like a really weird um, kind of association with a player and go, I
Mm,
don't care what all the evidence says, he's just a bit shit. He's never rated Courtois, and he should have done much better for the first goal. You don't spill it out back into the 6-yard box when you're a keeper of his experience. And Fabian Ruiz just whacks it in, didn't he, really?
yeah.
So, and again, before half time, he got away one, Lamine Yamal's free kick. I put here, he looks a bit dodgy today, Courtois. So, first half, 1-0. No, actually it was 1-1 by
One
half
all at
time, but
half time. Yeah,
1-1 half time. But at that point, you're looking and thinking Spain 1-up. It's probably going to go. I predicted 2-0. I predicted an early goal for Spain and a late goal for Spain. Wasn't far off in the end. What do you reckon to before we get into the equaliser? What do you reckon the first half up until then?
well, I was I was watching it in the pub actually, and I, I thought it was quite a tame affair, to be honest. I think
Yeah,
I think the only thing that livened it up was Belgium getting that equaliser. I think if
yeah,
they hadn't got that equaliser, it was a little bit of a non-event until that point because
yeah.
um, and even then they were trying to chalk it off for offside, and it was a perfectly good goal. But I think it definitely livened it up a little bit.
It did.
But it was. I was watching it, and I say I was watching it. I kind of had it on watching it in the corner of my eye because it wasn't that gripping of a game, was
I,
it?
I was about I
So,
was about to say to you, I bet you had other distractions in the pub
well, it was
rather than
mainly
watching that.
talking. But yeah, with
Yeah, yeah,
me and Kelly were just chatting, having a Guinness, and it was actually that was more interesting, our own personal chat than watching the footy. Whereas,
yeah.
if there's a cracking game on, all of a sudden you're not talking, you're watching. That's the sign of a good game, and it
I
it,
know.
it was and I think it's also in a pub. It's also interesting because you can tell because no one was really paying that much attention, so
Just
it
like
was that
background
kind
noise.
it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
background, yeah, and it
Well,
was
I've put here Belgium's equaliser was really well
it
worked and
was yeah
just before half time, great header by De Catalara, but actually,
yeah
3 or 4 passes out. Um, but I put here the Spain's keeper's stats for minutes without conceding. 649 minutes since he last conceded when it went to 1-1. That's why I think Spain might give France a game. I put here though, you can get at Spain if you do believe, but I don't think Belgium really believed enough in the over the 90 minutes that they could do it. I think maybe a little, that they went into half time 1-1, which is good to see. But I put your first half functional by Spain. Belgium have to be braver more often. or they'll be out 2 or 3-1.
Yeah.
And that was, I wrote that at half time, and you start thinking, do they believe enough? And maybe they didn't. But he's one
I
player.
don't think they have the whole time. I think they've just kind of like floated along Belgium. I'm not really certain that all the way along they've believed they can do anything. I think they've just almost surprised themselves.
Except against the USA, where they had
They had something to
something
some
to
fire in their
prove, didn't
belly. But yeah,
they? Yeah, yeah,
but even after that game, they've kind of it just ended in a bit of a whimper again. Really,
yeah.
I do agree with you. I think Tielemans, the loss of Tielemans before that game is a massive blow because I really like him. I think he's a really good player, and
Yeah.
he offers Belgium a lot. So to suddenly lose him before the game is huge, really.
I don't know what City fans think about Jeremy Doku. He is a frustrating bugger, isn't he? Honestly, he'll beat himself, beat another man, come back, beat himself, and he's like Peter Beagrie at his absolute best, isn't he? You know, just once you've done it, use it. Don't just he's
Yeah,
all feet and he's all trickery and don't get me wrong, he's undoubtedly a decent technical footballer, but my God, I'd hate to play alongside him. I'd pass the bloody ball.
he's um he's frighteningly good. Um, I think I mentioned to you when the game at the Hill Dickinson when it was 3-3 and
Mm,
we should have won that game. He ran the show for them. He's so good. He's very frustrating because he's one of those players that can do so much, but he'll quite happily, go down like he's been hit by a train. And then he suckers the referee a lot to get free kicks.
yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of them are completely undeserved. But then the ones he doesn't get, he rolls around and then all of a sudden he's up again and he's off like a bullet. And it's like he should get booked because he's just basically faking. And it's
mm,
frustrating because sometimes he does a lot of that kind of stuff where you just think, God, just stay on your feet and give it to someone. Because when he does do that, he's devastatingly
he
good.
is,
He's
he
so
is.
good technically with the ball. He's fast. He's strong. You always, whenever he gets it, he frightens the life out of you because you always think he can do something again, and he invariably does. He's a real talent, but I just find him a bit frustrating. I think if he could just focus on, you know, stop trying to just go down and get free kicks, or
Yeah,
just concentrate on what you're good at because you're such a good player. You don't need to do any of that.
exactly. Speaking of players, right? 58 minutes in, somebody came off the bench for Belgium. I'd completely forgotten this guy existed. Axel Witsel. He used to
Yeah,
play. He used to play for Borussia Dortmund, and I've seen him play 2 or 3 times, and I used to love him. He's got massive hair. You can't miss him on a pitch. He looks like
yeah,
kind of Crystal Tips analysis for those who are old enough to remember that reference point. But I
yeah,
completely forgot he even existed. But I looked him up. He started his career 20 years ago at Standard Liège, and he's
yeah.
now without a club. He left Girona after they got relegated from Serie A in the summer at the end of last season. He's without a club. He's 36. I'd take Axel Witsel at the Borough for a season. He's
Yeah.
still, he was brilliant for Dortmund when he used to be like just a classy midfield. I'd completely forgotten he existed. He says, and he would get a substitution, Axel Witsel. I'm like, Christ Almighty! I thought,
I was the same. I actually thought he'd retired from international football. Do you know what? The funny thing is, he was because he went from Dortmund to Atletico Madrid, didn't he? He went there,
yeah, too big a move, too big a move. He's not Atletico Madrid standard, I
no,
don't think.
He's not, and I think that happened far too late. I was surprised he went there, to be honest. But yeah,
Funny,
I have to confess, I thought he just dropped away into the ether. So I didn't even know he was at Girona, to be honest. So
yeah,
I didn't know that at all. But
he's not now.
no, I he's a talent. He was always a really good player. Early in his career, what I didn't like about him is he was a bit of a mercenary. I mean,
Yeah,
he just followed the money because he went to Russia when St. Petersburg, then it were paying huge money, so
yeah,
he
yeah.
went there, and then he went off to China and he went and did all of that, and he literally raked in
Mm.
God knows how much money. And for me at the wrong time, he did it all really, really early in his career. And I'm like,
Mm.
surely you do those kind of moves later on.
Do you think
And
he'll come to the Borough for 10 quid a week then, or not? Maybe not.
do you know what? I think he get the shock of his life.
What, playing the
Um,
championship? Yeah, probably would.
but yeah, I was with you. I actually thought he'd retired, so I was really
Yeah,
shocked to see him come on. Come on. It was nice to
yeah.
see him actually, but it was I was a bit shocked at that one. Yeah,
Speaking of people coming on, Lukaku came on at 60. and he scored three as a sub. I put, will he score again? The answer's no. At that point, 64 minutes just before the second hydration break, Spain had completed 407 passes to Belgium's 189. I've just put here pass, 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 pass. And then Belgium brought a young kid on to mark Yamin Lamal. Now, the kid's about 18. If you're marking Lamine Yamal, it's like being in a tumble dryer. This guy, Lamine Yamal, twists and turns, gets his crosses in. He's pretty direct. If
Yeah,
you're 17, 18, however he was, this Belgian kid, you're thinking, oh, coming on to make my debut for me. And oh, shit, I'm marking Yamin Lamal. Absolute poor bastard, really. That's all I
yeah,
would say. Yeah,
yeah.
just
It's
some player.
oh, yeah, yeah. He is some player, but
Yeah.
he hasn't. Got to be honest though, I don't think he set the World Cup alight. I mean,
No, he hasn't.
other people might disagree, but there's not been many headlines about him. He hasn't really done anything where you're thinking, wow,
Hasn't scored yet, and I
hasn't
don't think
scored,
he.
hasn't done much.
No,
It's
Spain
it's.
haven't done much. They've just
I was just
gone
going to say
about
Spain
being
hasn't done much.
Spain.
They've just kind of like plodded along, and all of a sudden it's like you can almost look at it and go, bloody hell, how is Spain here?
Mm,
What the hell's going on here? It's just
yeah.
they just suddenly got there without doing very much.
Well,
Um,
a couple of things around 60 odd, 66 minutes. Courtois goes down. Michael Oliver, hats off. We talked about common sense in the last episode about why they don't do this. Michael Oliver called the hydration break while Courtois got treatment. And you know what? Absolutely the right decision to do. Rather than wait for him to, get fixed and then play
yeah,
for a minute and then take another 3 minute break. So they called the hydration break. Well done, Michael Oliver, on that common sense on that one. But then Courtois goes off and Lamens, however you pronounce it, came on. And I've put here, he's had a good season for Man United. Um, However, just a terrible spillage for the winner.
oh,
87 minutes. Marino again. He'd been on a sub for 2 minutes like he had in the game against Portugal, and he just spilled it out, didn't he? And the ball moves in strange ways because when we talk about the England game, the second goal for England was very similar to that. It must move in the air because it bounced off his chest straight out, and Marino was first there. And Marino must be pushing for a start because he scored two in 2 games. He's only been on the pitch about 12 minutes in
yeah.
total. So yeah, terrible, terrible for Le Mans, but he's definitely cost them the game, I think there.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, it's just what you don't want to see, isn't it? To see your team lose to that, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You'd be devastated when a keeper spills it and someone's there to just to tap it in. It's just like, oh no, no.
Of all the
It's horrible.
places to
It's a great way to win a game of football. It's a horrible way to lose it. So yeah,
of all the places to spill it is back into the 6 yard mixer. And I've put here Tony Pulis, Sam Allardyce, um, Neil Warnock would have loved the last 5 minutes because all Belgium did was bomb massive balls into the box to Lukaku, try to get summit from Lukaku. And I put here, we once played five centre halves across the back under Pulis, which was a shocker. He likes a big man, doesn't he? But
yeah.
once they went 2-1 down, I put here, game over. It was the right result. But Belgium, at least at that point, they had Lukaku up front and they were bombing massive bloody high
So
balls
you
into him.
should,
And
yeah.
yeah, so you should. You got to
So you should.
sometimes roll the dice, haven't you, as I've said. So yeah. Anyway, inevitability about Spain winning that, do you think?
Definitely. Yeah. I actually thought at 1-1 there might be a game of football on there. And then sadly
Nah,
it just petered out again to a bit of a damp squib. Let's be honest. It was just
yeah,
wasn't that good. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm really hoping that Spain come alive against France, but I'm not really sure they will. They might just carry on the way they're going, and it would be awful if they did because you're kind of thinking, my God, if you get through the final playing like this, you've got through to a final of a World Cup. It's been a bit of a non-entity because you'd like to think if you get into the final, there's some memorable
yeah.
bits along the way, but there's just not been any for me for Spain.
He's the key. Obviously, we've got Argentina to play on Wednesday. If and it's a big if, we'll come to it in a minute. We beat Argentina. I'd much rather Spain have stifled the shit out of France and we play Spain in the final and play France though.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Um, yeah, I'd be quite nervous playing France just because of how quickly they can break. We've we'll come into it again. We seem to struggle a lot if teams suddenly catch us and
Yeah,
they just pull us all over the place. I think France could give us a torrid time on that one. So
yeah. So let's go to England, Norway. I watched this last night in our social club in the village. Really packed the rafters. Bit warm, couple of Guinness zeros and stuff. Well, more than a couple, but watching the game. And I've put here a strange game and a hard watch. But I've got a few things to say before we talk about football. So a shout out for Phil Walker. He's a friend of mine, and a client of mine, and him and his family. So him, his son George, his daughter, and his wife are in Florida for a family holiday for 2 weeks. He took George, who is, I didn't realize George is 60, I thought he was 36. George finished school in summer. He started his apprenticeship in September. So George has got this lovely summer off. And Phil took George to the Azteca on Monday. And he took him last night to the game, England Norway. And he's got tickets for Wednesday in Atlanta, and they're supposed to be on a family holiday. So his wife and daughter must be really enjoying themselves in Florida. So Phil, just enjoy every minute of it. You and George are going to create memories like you've never ever
yeah,
gonna. You know, Dad of the Year award goes to Phil Walker. I'll tell you now, and just keep being lucky, mate. Keep being lucky. He sent me a couple of pictures that look fantastic with you and George just enjoying the atmosphere. So I'd say that one. And the other weird little one was USA '94 and USA 2026. There was three Norway players in the USA '94 team: Haaland, Soloth, and Thorsved. All three of those sons are now playing for Norway in USA 2026, which is a nice little bookend, isn't it? For you know
yeah,
that
yeah,
I was quite like, oh, that's interesting.
yeah,
And the last observation before I get into the game is we had a French referee. Now, I like this French referee. I think he's a top referee. I thought he's pretty decent overall, but he's got skin in the game, hasn't he? Because France are one of the other teams in the last four. So how come he could get to officiate? Because I've heard that, the two English guys won't be officiating because England is still in the tournament now. And it's like, and I thought some of his decisions were inconsistent, to say the least. So I'm never questioning that. I think he's a really good ref, this guy. But it just seems a bit odd. And we had a USA VAR, didn't we? And USA don't want us to get through because Trump does not want England
no,
singing paedophile songs in the final. So I was a bit concerned about the officiating. It turned out mixed, shall we say? But let's
yeah,
let's 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 go with the game. I watched it in the social club, and we didn't really hear the commentary, which is brilliant because it was Sam Matterface and Lee Dixon. So anything's a bonus, isn't it? So I didn't get the benefit of insights from what they're saying, if there are such insights from Sam Matterface. But I put here, so I didn't know why Declan Rice had gone off, but we'll come to that in a minute.
yeah,
I put here, great start by England, but Norway don't want to engage and don't want to press. They weren't bothered about coming out their own half. And I put Madueke needs to beat his man, but also the same for Gordon. I thought Gordon got nothing from Rayson in the first 25 minutes. I thought Norway were quite happy to sit back. And then the hydration break comes, the coaching break, as I call it, and Norway completely changed tactics. And they actually started
yeah,
they started the after the hydration break like a different team. They've obviously been bollocked for sitting back too deep and not really engaging us. And suddenly they were pressing, suddenly they were in our faces. And I've put it's not a game of four quarters and it's not a coaching break. And it really pissed me off that. It demonstrated what's wrong with hydration breaks.
yeah. I would agree because it's the hydration breaks will then suddenly get morphed into coaching breaks,
Yeah,
which is just crazy, really. I mean, there's been a lot of arguments and people saying, you can't really change a game too much once you're out there. But I think this World Cup's shown that actually it can because how games have turned
mm.
when the hydration breaks have finished, it's been quite significant in some games how it has completely changed.
Just
So
momentum, isn't it?
momentum, yeah, and just and the coach has probably been able to forcibly just get a really blunt message across to
Yeah,
reinforce and say, actually, I want you to start doing this because I I was sat watching it at home with my daughter and her boyfriend, and we were just saying the whole way through, it's like surely Norway can't just sit back for 90 minutes, 120 minutes because
yeah,
they looked really passive, didn't they? They looked like they were quite
yeah.
happy for us to have the ball, sit 10 behind it, And I'm just thinking, at what point is your plan just to try and catch us on the break randomly? Because if that's it, that's a really poor way to go about it. But then they then just completely changed. The game opened up completely. I thought we really struggled to
We
cope
did.
with with them changing, and it could easily have been and should have been 2-0 if we'll get to that. And
We'll
but
come to
even
that, but
but
their
second
first
half,
goal.
yeah, the
Before
first
we
half,
get, let's go their first goal. Now, if Egypt versus Argentina, they can go back 100 yards and 5 moves and disallow a goal for VAR. I thought I thought Kane got fouled. I thought it was a soft foul, but I thought it was a foul in the run up to their goal. And it was part of the exact same move that put the ball out to their guy, who put a cross in, really, didn't he? It wasn't a shot. He put a cross in for
yeah,
Haaland,
yeah.
mishit it. Did you think Pickford? I don't think Pickford committed to it. When you see it back, it looked to me like Pickford didn't know where his back post was. He didn't put his arm up as full as he could have done, I don't think.
I don't. I think he either misread the trajectory of it or just got completely blindsided by the angle of it. Because I think
Yeah,
the way he approached it, I think he either thought I'm not going to put my hand to it because it's going to either go out. I think perhaps he thought it might be going out over the bar.
yeah.
It was an odd one. I know they did loads of analysis on it, and I'm just thinking maybe you're reading a bit too much into it. They're all going, "Oh, you should have done better." It's like, really, should he have done better? It's like you can. It's that easy to sit in a chair and start criticizing, but actually,
Yeah,
I think sometimes you're just blindsided by the angle of something. I mean, the way that bent in and curved and hit and then looped over and went in the
yeah.
corner. That's why you can tell it wasn't a shot because it's one of those where I just think the keeper's thinking I'm not really sure exactly where this is at all. Not quite sure where to get to. Do I move? Do I stay here? It's
Yeah,
almost like I think he'd come a little bit too far forward to the point
yeah.
where maybe if he'd stayed where he was, he'd have been able to get it and tip it over.
But he's anticipating the cross into the 6 yard area, so he's moving forward so he can get out and probably punch the
Mm.
cross. But then the cross turns into a shot, and he's a bit no man's land. Quick question though: was it a foul on Kane in
No,
the lead up? If
God,
it
no,
felt soft to me, but without the hindsight of any commentary and what was being said. But they didn't even check it, did they? It was just like,
no,
right,
no.
okay.
When you saw it in slow mo, for me, it wasn't a foul.
No, okay.
It was far too soft. So yeah,
Yeah, I put soft, and then you think to yourself, "Shit, game on, we're here. We're in trouble here." But then you look at it and go, "Great pass from Anderson to Gordon. What a run and pass from Gordon into Jude Bellingham, and he still had loads to do, didn't he?
yeah,
He
he
still had
did.
absolute. He had 5 men on him,
Yeah,
and the first touch just took him, split him in half, didn't he? And it
yeah,
was just a lovely finish. Jude Bellingham, world class. And the place I was in erupted, and I've put your game on. Let's get to half time, write it off. It was a strange game of two halves, even though we don't like quarters. And it was a strange game in all. Then it got very strange indeed, because I couldn't tell without the commentary why Rice had gone off. But apparently he has been poorly, hasn't he? He'd had
been
a
ill all
load of
week. Yeah,
yeah,
he's been
yeah.
ill all week. Yeah,
But then you sort of think to yourself, right, okay, so Rice is off. Then you're looking at a change in shape a little bit. And Eze, now I've put here, at least it saved Rice from a second yellow because he
yeah.
was on a yellow danger. I've put here, will Eze take his chance? And I've put, no, he didn't. I thought, Eberechi Eze, I thought I'd rather have Morgan Rogers than him now because he plays in a similar position and Rogers carries more threat. Eze has been on twice for me in this World Cup and not really grabbed his chance. I don't think he did
Yeah,
that
I
much at
think that's
all.
a fair assessment. I think that is fair. I like the fact that again, Tuchel's game management was really good. He made
Mm,
subs at the right time. Madueke wasn't doing anything, and I thought we were saying when we were watching it first half, I'd prefer to see Saka there because at least
yeah, yeah,
when Saka's going forward, he holds the ball much better. So Madueke he either holds it and moves past his man and gets it in, or he loses it. Where
yeah.
Saka doesn't, he retains the ball much better. He moves forward better with more purpose. And I think the fact that he's able to hold the ball, even if he doesn't get to a position where he can cross it in, just him holding it gives
Mm,
us a bit more time on the ball.
yeah.
Um, and I thought Madueke was poor, so I was really glad that he was hooked. Um,
I was as well. I've got here as well, just because of time and stuff. England needed the hydration break in the second half. I don't agree with them. I don't like them, but we did sort of need it because we were a bit under the cosh. I put here, Norway were not backing off. Their second goal, inverted commas, was a definite foul by Haaland. I mean, don't get me wrong, Arsenal would have loved it, but two hands shoved him in the chest. It was
he
no
went down a
debate.
little. He went down a little bit theatrically and a bit too easily. But the more you watch it, when I initially saw it, I actually thought Elliot Anderson made too much of it, to be honest. But then
Mm.
when you go back and look at it, you can't really argue with it too much. It was,
I was surprised we got it though, weren't you? Still,
yeah, yeah. I was a bit surprised. I
yeah.
thought that might go against us, and yeah, I was a bit concerned because I thought, oh God, they had some real momentum at that point as well.
Well,
So
they hit the bar. They hit the bar, didn't they? And at that
yeah,
point, and they were the team in the ascendancy. I put not backing off at all, but I put here a couple of observations. Anderson, I thought was having a great game in the middle. Showing up for everything, wanting the ball. He's not spectacular. He just gets the ball, distributes the ball, and he actually breaks up play as well. I put Bellingham and Kane a little too quiet. I would have swapped Kane for Watkins at some point because I thought
mm,
Kane was having one of those games which he does have from time to time where he's just not in the game. But then, he's a bit like Haaland, and he might not be in the game for 85 minutes, then he put it in the back of the net. But Watkins, I think, would have, and Rodgers came on for Bellingham, which is, again, saved the yellow card for Bellingham, protected him. I thought Watkins would have stretched them, and Rodgers is very direct as well. But, I think we brought Reece James on for Gordon, and I thought we invited him on a little bit and it was a bit like, oh shit. Uh,
I was a bit perplexed by that one.
yeah,
That's about the only substitution I was a bit. I thought that was quite odd because I thought Andy Cole
yeah,
was having a really good game and
I did,
he
yeah, yeah,
looked really comfortable. I don't think he needs to be taken off. He didn't look knackered. He didn't look like he was struggling. He wasn't
no.
carrying an injury. So, and I don't really think Reece James did a lot when he came on. I
Well, he
did
played
think,
in he played in central midfield, didn't he, Reece James? Which is weird,
yeah,
wasn't it? And
yeah, it
the
was
other
just,
thing, the other thing, Rayson had gone off for Norway, so Gordon was having a bit of a time, wasn't he? Rayson
he was
played him
doing
really
well. It
well
was,
first 25 minutes,
yeah,
but after that, yeah,
yeah. I thought, I really thought Jed Spence did well yesterday when he came on. I thought he
yeah,
had a
yeah,
really good game, to be fair, when
he
he
did.
came on. I think
I put,
he really affected things. It was when we got that penalty, you could tell it was going to get. It wasn't a pen. I mean, you'd have been outraged if that went against you. You'd be
well,
annoyed. You
Well,
would.
right, you would, right, but and he absolutely initiated because he flung his right leg in
Yeah.
between the leg of the. However, the guy was behind him and was, when you're a defender and you're behind the man and the ball, it's very risky. All I'll say is I've seen them given.
Oh yeah.
I didn't when you watch it back as soon as like the point the penalty spot, didn't he? I'm thinking to myself, looks a bit suspect that. But I've seen him given, and I'll tell you now, if that's Messi or Mbappe,
Oh,
that's given. That's
yeah. They
given
get
all day long.
they get it. You see him giving in the Prem every week. I
Yeah, yeah.
mean,
He
we
did. He
talk
did.
about
He did. He did. He hooked his leg so far
yeah.
out, though, didn't he?
We
To be
talk about
fair.
it all. We talk about it all the time. I mean, some of the crap that's given in the Premier League every week it's just makes you scratch your head. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd far rather they are not given because they're so soft. You
Yeah,
can
they are.
see that. You can see. I mean, you can see players looking for them. The whole shebang. And we've had commentators on where this Shearer's been at it, hasn't he, the whole time saying, "Oh, he's got every right to go down." It's like, well, no, he
He's a
hasn't.
striker though, and he's
It's,
Shearer will always.
he
Yeah.
speaks like a striker. It's like you shouldn't be encouraging. You shouldn't be
No.
feigning and
Cheating.
trying to get something by. He's got every right to go. That's like no. And this is where referees need to be smarter and stronger and just say
Mm.
no. That's why I really admired that decision the referee made and didn't give Kane that penalty
Yeah.
against DR Congo because they didn't deserve it.
It
He was
wasn't a
already going
penalty, was it?
down. It
Yeah.
wasn't a pen, and if you give stuff like that, it's like you have hoodwinked. So it was. I liked Spence's movement in terms of what he was trying to do, but
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was too soft to be a
It
pen,
was. It was.
I thought the ref had a pretty good game, to be honest. I've
Yeah.
got to be honest. I've not seen much of all this noise about the ball hitting the spider cam and coming back. I don't really know
No, no.
what why they're complaining so much. I mean, surely if it's hitting a camera and coming back down, surely that's
It's the
random.
same for
Surely it's
both
random.
teams. It's the same for
Yeah, I
both
was going to
teams,
say,
isn't it?
I was just like, why is that so controversial? If it
Yeah,
hits it and comes back down, it's just coming back down, and you deal with it. So I don't
yeah.
really see
No,
what
no
what
idea.
what the issue is there. To be honest, I, I did think as well that first half for Norway, Soloff going on his own when he actually just should have squared it to Haaland. Haaland would have probably buried that. I mean, it's as his coach and Haaland himself, you'd be like, well, they're not going to. I don't think Norway are ever going to create a huge amount of chances. So when
No.
they get into that position, for him to go on his own and do what he did,
We were really exposed at that point, weren't we? And what I will
yeah,
say to you, which I did say in the last episode, Sorloth, absolutely dog shit. He's a terrible footballer. But anyway, let's move on. There was something that panned into the crowd, and they do this all the time. Usually, it's some pretty Norwegian woman or whatever. And there was actually the producer did quite fancy a Norwegian woman because every now and again, like randomly, going into the crowd, this blonde Norwegian woman say, "Okay, get over it. We know you like her." But there was some England fans, and they had a 1966 and 2026 T-shirt on. Picture on one side of Bobby Moore holding the World Cup. Picture on the other side of Harry Kane holding the World Cup. Have you never heard of the word jinx? Have you
yeah.
never heard of football karma? And if anyone says in the next week it's coming home, I'm going to punch your fucking lights out.
Oh, I
Because
don't. Yeah.
do not under any circumstances jinx it with your, oh, it's coming home, or, Sir Harry Kane. Just go about it. Stop jinxing it. I'm not superstitious in life, but I'm very superstitious about football. Just stop it. Stop
Yeah,
it.
just yes, I'm exactly the same. I do not want to hear it's coming home. I'm so
No.
sick to death of hearing that. I mean,
Yeah.
thankfully it hasn't really been used much this tournament, which I'm
No.
really pleased about because I'm fed up of it. I
Yeah.
just don't think we should never be singing that ever again. I mean,
No.
the only benefit if we do win this World Cup is we won't have to sing it anymore, and
Exactly.
it'll literally just get buried. But yeah, and seeing things like Sir Harry Kane, what is this obsession with? If a footballer or coach does very well, they have to get a knighthood. I mean, what the hell
No.
is all that about? I mean, well,
Path-
the Botox wonder was there again, wasn't he, last night? Sir David Beckham. I mean, how many times did
oh,
they pan on him and his bloody wife and kids? It's like
I know.
seriously, just please fuck right off. We're not interested. We don't
Right.
care.
Right. Moving on because we still haven't covered it. England's second goal was exactly the same as the Belgium equaliser against Spain. Keeper spilled it out. Bellingham quick to react. But then I said, the Bellingham scraped down the calf. It was accidental later on for when he was clean through. Accidental, but he put Balogun, Messi, Quansah. These things have been given, haven't they? We
Yeah.
weren't getting much for that. But the second goal, he's so quick to react, isn't he, Bellingham? Superb. I put Spence had a good game, initiate the penalty, so we've talked about that. And then Norway took off Haaland for Strand Larsen. Now, if you're a Wolves fan or a Crystal Palace fan, you tell me Strand Larsen's a good footballer. Not really. Haaland's going to get you a goal from anywhere or any time. And it was like, oh my God. And at 10 minutes left, we brought Big Dan Burn on. And Dan Burn won a header. And he stood over the guy when he won the header. It's like, if you see, he's like, "Urgh."
Yeah.
The club erupted because obviously he's a northeast lad and we're up in York, which is not that far away. A lot of love for Dan Burn. I think he's a Sunday League footballer at best. But you know what? The last 10 minutes, definition of hard fought. I put England, are they a greater team than the sum of their individual parts? Because as a team, we get it done. But we've only really got Bellingham and Kane at the moment who are doing it. I mean, Anderson's playing consistently well. But that's it, really, isn't it? We're in the semi-finals of the World Cup. Are we better as a team than we are as individuals, do you think?
Um, I think the jury's still out for me, to be honest.
Yeah,
I keep seeing pockets of really good performances that link into being like. I think we create some really good moments, like Bellingham's first goal. That was Anthony
yeah,
Gordon. A great ball um, to Gordon. He created the space, a lovely ball, but Bellingham still had a lot to do. But
yeah,
it's it's more little pockets, little moments. We're not. I don't think we're playing consistently well as a team yet. But what I really like is we seem to be. It's that age old cliche, but it's true. We're finding ways to win games. We're finding
Yeah.
ways to eat, and not one game's been pretty. They've been, you know, gritty, hard fought. We've been behind in a lot of games. We've managed to come back and win. I think the mentality side of it has been. I mean, you know, ITV were asking stupid questions after the game yesterday. You know, what is your question? The mentality? It's like you can clearly see the mentality is absolutely second
Yeah.
to none. They're all they all want it. They all want to play well together. We said this on the last pod we were talking about it. I think that's the bit that I'm really positive about. They seem to have a steeliness that's been lacking in other tournaments, and
What
that's
what
what I
I
think.
loved, what I loved. Sorry to cut across. I'm just conscious of time again, mate. But what I loved was the interview with Tuchel, who wasn't happy, and he said, "We got away with that. I'm
Yeah,
disappointed.
yeah.
We can do better." He's got winner written all over him, and I
Oh,
think while we've got him in charge, like you
yeah,
said, making really good tactical decisions, in-game management. Um, I think we've got enough to grind out results. Apart from the Croatia second half, I don't think we've put in a 45 minutes that made us look like wow. I thought the entire game against Mexico, we were really good at not losing, if that makes sense. And there was
yeah,
10
yeah.
minutes when we went 2-0
Yeah.
up, wasn't there? But we haven't strung a good 45 or a good 70 or a good 80 minutes together. We're
No,
gonna
we
have
haven't
we're
control.
gonna have to do that.
No, we
We're
haven't
gonna have to
controlled
do that.
games. We
Yeah.
haven't controlled. And to be honest, I don't see us doing that. I don't see us doing that
No.
against Argentina. I think if we get to the final, I don't see us doing that against either France or Spain.
No.
I think if we win this, I think we win it the way we've been
Ugly.
doing it, ugly.
Ugly.
And
I
and
don't
just,
care.
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
No.
you'd love to see your team go out there and completely boss it, and we have the capability to do that. But I actually think maybe the way we're doing this is working quite well because there's however we've given quite big pockets of time away in games where actually we've been under the caution. You're thinking, bloody hell, we're struggling here, but we always seem to manage to pull it back round in our favour. I think that's a really good thing to be positive about because I've not seen that much in other tournaments, and we're doing it consistently.
Brazil 1994, Italy 2002. Nothing special, nothing spectacular. Both won the World Cup.
Yeah,
2006, sorry, Italy,
sorry,
not
yeah,
2002.
yeah, yeah, and
So
and,
I don't
and
mind. I don't mind if we win like Brazil. I don't mind if we win like Dunga. I don't care. Very briefly, there's a post on LinkedIn this morning by Ian Hepworth, who's a member of the Half and Half Scarf group on LinkedIn, and his post was this: one Category 3 ticket for the semi-final in Atlanta on the official FIFA resale site. The original ticket price was $995, which on its own is an absolute disgrace. FIFA have got that officially for resale at $49,995 plus £7,500 handling fee. It's absolutely criminal. And
it is.
Ian said, I'll watch it on telly. I mean, that and FIFA take 15% of both the buyer and the
Yeah,
seller's fee on that as well.
yeah, yeah. It's a joke.
Wrong.
It's a
No.
joke. It's yeah. It's. I mean, just saying it is embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just
And
and you know what? Some silly bastard will pay that and do it. It's like some of these idiots who've got stupid money to burn,
yeah,
and to be honest, I mean the stadiums have been packed. You know, if people are willing to pay
mm,
stupid money to go and watch these games, fantastic. But do you know what? What I would say is about every single game, as they've all had moments, they've all had bits of jeopardy in them. You know,
yeah.
in terms of it, I'm talking about the England games. There's not one where I'd walk out the game and go, you know, I'm so glad I was there, and I'm so glad I paid thousands and thousands of pounds for it because I just wouldn't.
Here's the other thing as well, though. There's so many non-supporting fans in the stadium. I don't think the atmospheres look like they've been brilliant. None
No,
of them are. None of them are Argentina '78, mate. That's all I'll say. Right, moving on. Argentina. Very briefly, because of time, and also because of the fact that I've only seen the highlights and you
yeah,
haven't. Argentina Switzerland. I put predictable scoreline before a ball was kicked. class will tell, but Mbolo needs his shit kicking out of him by his teammates, which I'll explain in a minute. Okay. I put here Argentina are both tenacious and technically good, but you can get at them. They do the dark arts really well. Then they've got this occasional genius moments and pass you, they'll split you in half and whatever. But Switzerland, how can you let McAllister, 5'7", score a header from a corner for your first goal? Shocking defending to let a
Yeah,
5'7" guy win a header. I'm going to go through all of it quickly because you haven't seen the game. I've put and Doy was about to score for Switzerland, and Martinez put in a block like you wouldn't believe. Is it the guy who plays for Man United, the little guy? It was offside in the end, but Argentina just throwing the bodies on the line. But
yeah,
then they didn't push on. After taking the lead, they didn't push on at all. And the Swiss are really good value for their equaliser based on the highlights. And Jonathan Pierce said on the highlights, it's been coming. It was a great finish through the keeper's legs. But then the moment that changed the game completely. So once Switzerland had equalised, they took the sting out of Argentina. So much so that the Argentina players kept doing that to their fans because they were flat. Because
yeah,
Switzerland were doing a job on them. Mbolo is on a yellow, and then he runs up the wing, and an Argentinian comes sliding in. Never touched. He wasn't within the same postcode as Mbolo, and Mbolo rolled around like he'd been, had his legs broken, and it was like, hang on a minute, he never touched him, and it was you get a second yellow, you get hooked off for a second yellow for simulation on 60 odd minutes in a World Cup quarter final, leave your team down to 10 men when you're on top against Argentina. And at 1-1 at that point, it looked like from the highlights, it looked like from what Jonathan Peace was saying, that Switzerland had every right to expect to be right in that till the end and possibly taking that to a winner. And he gets sent off in 60 odd minutes for a dive for a second yellow card. What the fuck? Why? I'm honestly, I'd be in the change rooms afterwards, I'd be battering him.
I'd be slapping him silly. I mean, it's just heads gone, isn't it? As a player doing that, why on earth would you do that? What's in your head? You've already got a yellow card, and
Yeah.
you decide to just go around play acting like that when no one's been. Just get up off the floor and get on with it. Just
He
get
didn't
on with
need
the
to.
game.
No, no,
Didn't
he
even
didn't
need
need
to
to go on
do
the
it.
floor. Didn't he go on the floor, mate? Because he didn't get touched. If he'd stayed on his feet, he's past his
Yeah.
man. He
Oh
didn't need
right.
to go. You watch that back today, mate, and you send me a message and tell me that's not one of the worst dives. It was so bad. It hasn't even arrived yet. It was so late. The bloody, a shocking. And he's left his team down to 10 men. Right. I've put here, let Argentina off the hook. And then Argentina just stepped up a gear, which they've got gears in them, haven't they?
Of course
On
they have.
90, on
Yeah.
93 minutes, Messi so close to a winner. Then Gregor Kobel, brilliant diving save to take it into extra time, not from Messi, but from another one. But Argentina being on top since Embolo's sending off. What an idiot. I put here then Alvarez, second goal. Just, one of them goals you've seen a lot of. Cuts in, looks up, bends it in the top. He's on the left hand side, bends it top right,
Yeah.
unstopped. Brilliant goal. And I've put here the third goal was inevitable at that point because
Yeah.
Switzerland had 10 men knackered, running on empty, pushing forward, and then literally three-man break. And I'll tell you how bad Switzerland must have been at that point. Lautaro Martinez scored for Argentina, and he's what my feelings are in him in an Argentina shirt. So the whole game hinged on a stupid thing. But I put here, are Argentina overall, and I mean by all of the requirements of being a really good football team, if they decide to turn up in every phase of the game, are they better than France?
Um, I'd probably say yes because I think when they're on it as a team, they they can do everything. I mean, they do the dark arts well.
Yeah,
They know how to win dirty. They're gnarly, in your face, horrible. They do have this dynamic as a. I've maintained, and I'll say it before. You take Messi out of that team, they're not winning anything.
no,
But they've got some really good individual players, and as a team, when they're on it, when they're really on it, that in the 22 World Cup, they all worked in beautiful synchronicity, don't they? And they have that. They still have that power now to when they want it, they can really do it. And it's just been a shame that some of the decisioning has been rather suspect and gone in their favour in quite a few
Yeah,
games and let them off the hook. But you know, yeah, um, I'm going to watch those highlights today because it's been really interesting. Because it's against, I just don't think you can give a team as strong as Argentina a helping hand by just going down to 10 men. It's
no, you
it's it's
can't.
it's just you just can't really.
No.
So yeah, I think yeah, I'm yes. Do you know what? Strangely, I think I'd rather play Argentina in the final. I think if we had France or Spain in the semi-final, I think
Yeah.
I'd be a bit happier about that. To be honest, I
Well,
just really hope.
I think we're gonna have to be totally on our guard. I think we have to be very lucky with the officiating. I think we're going to have to all turn up and maybe just catch Argentina on a little bit of an off day because actually, pound for pound, man for man, they are pretty good. I've got a little butterfly coming to join me in the podcast
I've seen it.
studio.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, let's see what Wednesday brings. So, mate, the top four in FIFA World Rankings are the semi-finalists for the World Cup. Now,
yeah,
that's probably as it should be. France number one, Spain number two, Argentina number three, England number four, and one and two play each other. Three and four play each other. And I think on the day we are probably fourth favourites for that. But on the day it's anyone's game. Let's see what the semi-finals bring from Tuesday and Wednesday. What do you reckon?
I would agree with that completely. I think our goals are going to have to be on the money. I think that if there's any kind of, I'm a little bit nervous that I don't want VAR to get heavy-handed in these
No.
at all and start analysing everything to the nth degree. I think we're going to have to, if we're going to win that game, our goal is going to have to be on the money with nothing that can be debated over. Um, I really think we're going to have to. I've been a bit worried at times how open we've looked, where teams have been able to get on us, and
Mm,
I think if you give Argentina that luxury, that could be rather worrying.
yeah.
I don't read. I think what's concerned me with England is I've always had and there's been a few scary times where it could have happened where I've often felt if we go 2-0 down in these games, I'm not sure we're getting back into this.
No.
Um, I think at 1-0 down, anyone can get back into anything, but 2-0 with England, that just feels quite a hard task. And I don't think against Argentina, I think we'd struggle if we let them get a 2-0 lead on us. I think
Yeah.
that will be I think that will be game done, to be honest.
Okay. Well, that's been the quarter-final review. That goes with our other podcasts where we've looked at the group stages, like round of 32, round of 16, now the quarterfinals. Been great to discuss that with you as ever, Dom. Our next episode, which will be episode 57, will be the semi-final stage. We're going to release that on Thursday.
Yeah,
Don't forget, however, we've still got just about our daily World Cup quiz and the LinkedIn group. We've now got nearly 400 members in there. So if you're interested in challenging your knowledge, have a little look at that every day. And thanks for watching or listening as ever. And that's episode 56. 57 is coming out on Thursday, and 58 we're going to do a special review of the World Cup final, irrespective of who's in it. That'll be coming out um, a week on Tuesday, but
yeah.
also a review of the overall, our thoughts on the actual World Cup itself. So thanks again. We've had a great spike in listeners and viewers over the last week or two. Long may that continue. If you're a new listener or new viewer, thanks for your support. We'll see you all again soon. See you on Thursday, Dom, and good luck for Wednesday. And actually, good luck to Spain because I'd rather play Spain than France.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Let's hope we're sat here on Thursday with good news to talk about.
All right, mate. See you then. Cheers, mate.
Yeah,
Bye.
cheers, mate. See ya. Bye.